I can.
Well, there you go. You want to sit right here?
No.
So, what are we doing here with this thing up there in front of you? I can't see you.
Okay, what they're going to do, they're filming you sitting down after all, and as soon as they get through that, then they're going to pull back, and then the person can interview and so on.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Bill and I from Britain.
Hello, Bill.
I'm Bill. I'm
Yeah,
Bill.
right. You know, it seems like I suffer through all kinds of things to come to certain thoughts. And every time I get to a certain thought, there's always someone there from Britain that's just breezing by like it's just a nice day. You know?
Right.
Is there a difference between British and Scottish and Irish? Or is that just
Bill's the
a...
person
Yeah.
who answered that one.
Yeah. I'm Scottish. John's English. Okay.
And there's a difference
Oh yeah.
in that from
sure.
where you're from.
Sure. That's
The
right.
basic difference is that the Scottish and the Irish hate the English.
That's
the
right.
But realize the only thing I know about you guys is in the movies,
Mm,
you know.
mm. I didn't speak English till I was 6.
Yeah. He changed the music when he was not supposed to.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, don't distort the word of God.
We'll get to it all.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Let's just trust each other and everything.
Yeah.
We are recording our gentlemen, if that's all right. We're
Okay.
recording and filming now, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay. Let's do it.
Now, I don't think in time, because I've been over 40 years in jail. I'm in the Supreme Court at least 10 times. I'm 3 professors in penology, psychology, philosophy, criminology, all the ologies of Babylology, you know, and I go out for and I speak of the Gaelic also on the side. I've been in Clover for a lot of years, and I'm in the heart of the whole, from here to the bull rings of Spain. That Sean Connery, whatever his name, should know that by now. He's played my bagpipe off from the Hinman murder case at least 3 times in literary perspective.
Somebody once said you're the most dangerous man alive. Do you think you are?
I don't. That's ambiguous. It doesn't really mean all men are dangerous, mainly to themselves. You know, that's. I'm His Majesty.
I mean, you're certainly one of the most famous people in the world, or someone with your name is.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, there's good reason for that. If it could be brought into the light, in the true perspective, with intelligent life forms, if there is such a thing on the planet Earth.
But a lot of people don't know you're a musician.
That's a second. That's a game.
Well, let's talk about that just a little bit. You learned some guitar from Creepy Al Carpus, is that right?
Yeah. Alvin Carpus, yeah.
Mhm.
Alcatraz. I swept the floor at Alcatraz. I've been in the federal buildings for 22 years before I got to California. That's what I tried to explain to the courts in California, but I haven't been able to find anyone in California yet. There doesn't seem to be anybody home.
Because you started in San Francisco playing your guitar, and
No, I started in Kentucky,
right.
in Moorhead, Kentucky, in 1943,
Mhm.
45. Then we went to Gibraltar, Irish School for Boys in Terre Haute, Indiana. whole bunch of monks that teach you different things. They teach you boxing, handball, music, whatever you're interested in.
Did you ever learn to write music?
No, I've never slowed down to that. I move awfully fast. My mind is really rattlesnake.
Sure. You got to know some pretty famous musicians, though, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, I've known just about all.
Guy we both knew, Dennis Wilson.
Yeah.
How do you remember Dennis?
Young man. He had a hard time with the truth because he was raised in that world. Hollywood's a deceiving place. Hollywood's a hard place. You think one thing, you think everything's like Bing Crosby for that Irish music, but it's not. It's for the control, the mind control center of the world.
How did you meet Dennis?
In a poker game in Elvis Presley's house.
You did some recording with him, didn't you?
Huh?
You did some recording with him. Do you remember doing all that?
Yeah, they opened up their house, and I went through what they were doing, and I rejected it because I just got out of one prison, and I wasn't looking for another one. And their lifestyle that they live is pretty much controlled by the business manager that runs from New York City in his little red Ferrari. Did they tell you about the red Ferrari?
No. But the Beach Boys recorded one of your songs, though, didn't they?
They recorded more than one.
Which ones did they record then?
Who remembers? I can't remember back that far. You know.
Remember Cease to Exist? They did.
The electricity there, the light switches and the electricity runs off of a brotherhood that runs off of a cross, that runs off of a piece of clover, that runs off of 666, that runs up and down the hallways in Juvenile Hall from Boys Town, Nebraska. The lights, the heart of man runs the brotherhood from the cross.
Okay.
And the brotherhood is, on some levels, is very violent, and very nasty, and very mean. And there's a struggle for points of reality. Some people say that Habarashtash from India is the living God, you know. And I say, no, our Father, which art in heaven, is the living God, you know. Sure. Then there's an argument, and then the fire is thrown on me, and I burn up for that, you know. And then Union Carbide blows up, and a whole bunch of them burn up, and who's burning who up, and where is the center of the music?
Yeah. Well, let's keep on the music.
France wearing the pants with Elvis Cleaver and Huey Newton.
Yeah. That was all in those days, but let's try and keep on.
It's still today. It's still today. Sure. They're all fucking towards Michael Jackson. Yeah. And they're controlling the music with the abortion clinics, and the music controls that little girl, you know.
All right. Well, let's talk. You had your song that they had ceased to exist, and they changed it, didn't they? Remember, they changed the words?
Yeah.
You didn't like that?
Oh, not at all, would you?
No.
See, in prison, you write songs, and you send them to people outside, to Brother Recording Company. And when the Brother Recording Company gets them, they don't exactly use the same. What they do is it's like, I wrote a song because I know. It's a meditation song.
Right.
I walk back and forth in my cell, and I say, will in the mind, the body and soul. Will in the mind, the body and soul. Will in the mind, the body and soul. And I'm fighting against this cell. I'm trying to keep my will up because years and years in a cell is difficult.
Sure.
So it becomes a song, and I write the song out. I send the song. I send a tape to someone. They send a tape to Brother Recording Company. And then when you hear the song, it's Ain't No Sunshine When She's Gone. You dig?
They change it.
Yeah,
right.
they change it. They take your catchphrases, and they take it. It's like if you got a feeling that goes, and you put that into the, and you put that into the music, then that becomes a part of what they call soul. If you use the expression right on, right, hey, right on, someone hears that, they pick it up, they say, hey, 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 right on. In other words, all the sound and the soul that comes off of prison, when it gets to your ears, it comes off, I've been so lonely, baby, Heartbreak Hotel. In other words, you hear the bottom part of what's really happening on the top.
But do you remember any other? Sure.
And clean it up from the matriarch, because all she's doing is giving up sex to it. Because she's going to back up to her fear. Man doesn't back up to his fear. He goes straight into his fear. We've got to get a one-world government. Yeah, we've got to have it, man.
Yeah, well, we've got a problem with one. I'd like to continue with the others. Okay, cool. Okay, we're recording now. So quiet, please, with the deal. Sorry, Tommy, away, yeah. Yeah, we're recording.
Right, we were talking about your music and your songs. You said that other people ripped off your songs.
Everybody does. That's the whole world. Everybody does it. Everybody does. You do it automatically. You do it automatically. You got a music called rock and roll. Where did it come from? What does it mean, rock and roll? What is this rock and roll? Where does this rock and roll come from? Do you have a level on this thing? Do you have a level on this thing?
Yeah.
Do you have a red line on it that you can't go any louder than a certain way?
You're okay, Ed, are you? Okay. Yep, you're fine.
Okay. How loud can I go with this? Ah! Ah! Now, that's where rock and roll comes from. Now, you go on a cheer, and you sing on the cheer. Someone hears that. They come in and they're going, ah, ah, and they stay in prison 10 or 15 years, and when they're leaving, they're going, ah, ah. You see it? In other words, you got your majesty upside down. And music comes from the crown. Music comes from your king. Music comes from your Lord. Music comes from your soul. Hollywood plays music to little girls. I don't play little girl music. I play music for God. I play music for myself. Then when I come up with a song and they change the words, I say, don't change the words. If you change the words, my shadows are running fast, man. I'm running out of the monk's hood. I'm running out of Boys Town, Father Flanagan's, Nebraska. I'm running out of Irish Catholic Church, man. I'm running out of, you see what I'm saying? In other words, I'm running from IRA. I'm running out of everyone that wants to live on the planet Earth, man. I'm running from nowhere and doing nothing. I'm all the same. It's just such as it goes on, and Shakespeare was a clown.
Who changed the word to your song?
He changed it for his little girls, for his money. He compromised himself for money. Crime, you don't compromise yourself for money. You got a poker game. If you can't win, you take your pistol and take the money. You play, and then when you see that you can't win, you just take it. You pull your claymore out, man, and you do what any black pirate does, man. You take everything on the board, and you go from another direction, you know.
Let's start from a really important part.
Okay.
Okay. Did you really audition for the Monkees?
No. You know the reason they put that on there? Because, this is very intricate, man. The black hand that comes from the Catholic Church, the Romans have been using for years. The black hand is supposedly the hand of God from the cross that's really upside down. It comes from the Negroes and the slaves that Abraham Lincoln played with.
I've been talking to other people in the military militia.
Yeah.
Greg Jacobson.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
You like that?
Yeah, it's all right. I used to play around with his daughters. That's Frank Costello, Abbott Lou Costello. Yeah, I know those people. Yeah.
I remember you very well.
Yeah. I get around. I know. That's my neighborhood. Like Jimi Hendrix lived 3 doors from Dennis, and Elvis lived 2 blocks. So. That's just like going looking in somebody else's icebox. But you see, here's the thing, man. Like me in particular, I'm not, I'm not impressed very easily by very much. I'm impressed by my counselor and associate warden to see if I can get to get to a guitar. Huh?
You weren't impressed by Elvis.
No, I didn't. We weren't. His divorce court was. That's another thing you got to realize. See, everything here is upside down. Everything that you do goes off to someone else. The real Humphrey Bogart and the real James Cagney was not really criminals. The real criminals died somewhere in San Quentin and Folsom, and the actors took them off, what we call take it off. You take it off and play it. You hear somebody sing something, you hear somebody say something, you say, that's cool, right on. The underworld, the slang that comes from down under, the kangaroo, the bottles and stoppers with the ones and twos to the plates of meat for the jiggles and jars and the hammers and tack in the back, you know.
Someone said you were going to work on a movie about Christ.
Yeah. The Hebrew wanted to do that. Stromberg. He made a movie about something. He wanted me to play with Hamisa Kala from South Africa and Big Black from Kenya. And I told him I'm not going to get in between those two guys, you know, because like I'm not into mixing races. And then he accused me of being a racist because I didn't want to mix races. You see, in other words, they used the black people to control the music. That's why in America you can't get rock and roll over into the Americans' consciousness unless you go to England, because they got a lock on it from Nashville. They got a lock on it from James Brown, from the Chain Gang. They got a lock on it from the prison, because the prison is a big percentage of prison is run by black inmates. It's run by the fear of black inmates. Fear has a big thing to do with music. Who holds the fear holds the sound. Who holds like the mules get on one side of the mountain and go and the mules get on the other side and go and the loudest mule, all the jennies go to the mule that sings the best. It's the same thing with the music. The music has big controls that come out of Boston, that come off the Dukakis campaign, that comes off of John F. Kennedy, that comes off of Castro, that's a play on the Blue Eyes, that's a play on the Spanish court.
So you knew all the movie people then?
Yeah, I had all that. I'm a gangster. Yeah, I'm a crook.
But you had music people a bit closer to you though, and think of someone like Bobby Bostaway, who used to at the time.
Yeah, Bobby's very good. He's a genius. He's a young genius. I was really impressed by that youngster. He really could get down. See, getting down with music is not the same thing as playing music out front for the people. Getting down with music is going in the mountains and throwing up a fire and getting the drums and getting down. That's really getting funky, man.
So tell us, when you were meeting with Dennis Wilson and all these people, you lived in his house for a while with the girls?
No, I won the house in a poker game. Diamond lost the house. He was the Buffalo Springfield. The Buffalo Springfield comes off Kentucky Rifle. The Kentucky Rifle comes off the Queen of England when she comes over to Kentucky to get her horses. She comes over there to get her horses because that's a horse's head thought that comes off a Ferrari, that big black 200 horse little red car that the business manager drives, and he's got the hitmen on the telephone over there on the Brother Recording Company. In other words, like they're in a poker game and they lose the house.
Okay, so let's talk about what you got. You were living in Dennis's house, and you got in a poker game.
It was Tom Mix's house.
Okay, right. So with you and with the girls, right, and Bobby Bostaway. What was your life about then? Was this the family? Was it really?
No, we lived all the time.
Okay. What was all that about?
Music.
The family.
Music. Music.
Lots of music.
Music. It was called the Family Jams.
Right.
It was a band, Family Jams. We played at the chorale. We played old country-like music, old-fashioned Lefty Frizzell music, Hank Williams music, old rinky-tink.
Tell us about the spiritual things you're doing.
Well, we got into the spiritual perspective with the Indians, sweat lodges, and the peace pipes, and the peyote, and the mushrooms. I got some mushrooms from some Azteca. He's like the Lord. He's a big Azteca chief. He's He lives in the roots and herbs of life, man. He's a mighty warrior, man. He's a big person in the underworld. I live in the underworld, man. You know, and there's a lot of characters in the underworld that would be fantasy to you, but they are really real on other levels. You know, like you go out in the desert and you get into the mushrooms or the peyote or the Sundance. The Sundance is another place that the music comes from. Are you aware of the Sundance? I think you are. You should be. You made a movie about it. The guy called Horse, I think the name of the movie. Well, there's a reality in that Sundance that brings out all the music in you. You know, in other words, it brings out the cross. It brings out all the suffering. It brings out all the majesty in one's soul.
So you and the girls and playing the music and doing all the spiritual things. So what about things like the process? You know, dealing that?
Yeah. I was in prison when Dianetics first started. Yeah, 1950. We fought the establishment. The black Muslims were coming in with the Quran on the dark side of the moon, and the Islamic arm of the church and the Masonry. I don't know how to put the Masons involved in that. I don't want to get tripped up in with anyone else on any other level.
What did you learn from
But he come up with Dianetics 1950. So a lot of the guys were interested in studying the way to process the mind, how to clear your mind from past confusion, how to resurrect the soul and be reborn within yourself. So that's where Scientology started, and then they started selling it, and then it got to be the process. And then the Church of the Last Day, the Last Judgment, I sent some people to England. I couldn't go myself, but I sent some people there to do some certain things to make an effect, to cause an awakening of an awareness in that. No, Bruce was just one person that went in that direction. There were some other people riding motorcycles that was doing some other things, you know. No, I think if you go over them stones, you know where you got them big pile of stones over there? I think you see this mark on my forehead? Well, they got this mark over there and 2 or 3 of the stones. There was some other things doing with some stones and some reasons for... You know how the occult is. You get involved in all kinds of under darkness things that are running under nooses, that are running through just, I don't know, you know, it would take too long to explain it all. But yeah, you're right.
So you've got to doing this ontology and stuff in the process. Some people say you're a Satanist.
Whatever that means, you know, God is the devil, I mean, a clever devil or whatever, you know, it opens up to wherever you go, whatever you're going to use, where are we going to survive, how's it going to go? You say, oh, I want to be all these individuals and I want to believe all these things, but then the wind blows in another direction and you say, whoa, that hurts too much, I got to change my mind about something, you know, because like when it comes down and we go down in the basement and you're laying up on the rack, you're going to do whatever the king tells you to do. It's that simple, man, you know. Huh?
If I put you right now, are you a Satanist?
Oh, well, I don't know. That's, you know, Satanist, what is that? I mean, Mickey Mouse. I mean, they got guys that would play acting that for the public. What is a Satanist? You get a dog and you throw him with the children and you kill the children because there's too many children and you're 50 million people over, and if you don't destroy at least 500 million people, you're all going to die of neglect because there's nobody there but the graves of somebody that did have honor at one time but then died because, you know, and who's left over? We're all left over the edge of where we're going.
You didn't join the church or something?
Oh, no, I'm not, you know, no, I'm too stupid for any of that, you know.
Well, look, you've got a pretty good life going here, the girls and the music, all the spiritual things. So I guess the question is, what went wrong?
Something go wrong?
Yeah, well, what was... Yeah,
Where? What happened?
You know what we mean.
Star, I got the star band back there. Ain't nothing wrong. Everything's right on, man. I thought it was. We got a $2 billion, or $200 million establishment here. We're trying to work into the CC camps. If we get them CC camps going, we rejuvenate this water.
Okay. We'll come to that later. We'll come to that. Well, what did the Beatles mean to you?
Kids.
The kids?
Little kids, yeah, they were little kids. I want to hold your hand, you know, yeah, well, they still want to hold my hand, you know, still, they doesn't change. They get older, we get older, you know, I mean, but they're just kids as far as I'm concerned. McCartney, or whatever his name is, don't know what he's doing. He's up there making music with people that's creating babies all across the country that he's the father of all kinds of things that he doesn't even have the brains to realize, you know. You don't lay with that snake, or the snake is going to eat you sooner or later, you know. Then you look down the street and you wonder why your children are all wondering, you know, it's all kinds of different ways and things of doing all kinds of stuff. Huh? Helter Skelter was their song. They wrote it. You know, I didn't have no particular meaning to me. The district attorney picked up on that and made it into his trip. You know.
Where do you think he got it from?
Well, you got to realize a convict's mind. 1944, music's going. Well, you have God's Spanish Bible, people are walking on that level, and they're saying, yeah, we're going to blah, 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 blah. And you get locked up, boom, you're in a vacuum. You get back out in 1950, and they're singing, they tried to tell us we're too young, and they're walking a little faster, you think. You get locked back up, and boom, it stops again. You get out in 59, the music on stop there, who's stop this, on step, stay long, and you say, wow, man, these people are really, you know. And then you get locked back up and everything stops. You get back out in 67, you go over to see the Grateful Dead, and they're coming around, man, your mind is going to billions of miles an hour, man. I'd say, woo, you know, that's what I call confusion. That's helter skelter, you know.
Tell about confusion.
It just means confusion. Yeah, that's an English word. It's, you know, I bet. And then when the Beatles come up with it, I mean, that was their song. They were playing to those teeny boppers. Son, I'm not a teeny bopper. I like their music. Their music was okay, but my music is, I'll tell you where my music goes. It goes riff. Royal Air Force. Don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me. I mean, that's where I'm at, you know. In other words, like, I'm still in the bagpipe, you know. I haven't lost the perspective to that, you know.
So when Mr. Coyote says you're getting messages from Elder Skelter and the White Album, that isn't right?
Come on, man. The music gives everyone messages. That's what music does. I mean, how do I have to appear like I'm some kind of maniac because I can hear something that the music says? You know, when the music said somewhere over the rainbow, you know, in other words, I'm still there over the rainbow. And what's that? Kate Smith came out with that, there'll be bluebirds over the white cliffs of Dover. I'm still in Dover. I mean, I haven't,
well, that's
you know.
what I mean. So what went wrong?
I don't think anything went
A
wrong.
lot of people say that you heard messages of the people and you sent the kids out to go and kill people.
Oh, no, that was
Well,
good.
okay, let's try and hack this into the garbage about all the murders and stuff.
Okay.
And let's try and get it straight. We watched you, we're all here, and you said, you're saying that can be explained.
Sure.
Okay, well, let's try and explain it. You said that
Okay.
you killed no one.
Okay.
I spoke to Mr. Fenton. I can't see your mouth now. Okay. Right, should we roll, please? Recording on both cameras? Okay. All right, please? Nothing. In your own time?
All right, let's try it again.
If I could get to somewhere where I could write, or I could have a tape recorder, then I could explain a lot of this. It's very difficult to explain 10 or 15 years in 2 or 3 minutes. The reality of words only say so much. The reality of motion that moves in prison moves on life and death, on what they call a line, a main line. that reality comes from handball courts and weightlifting piles, and it comes from someone dropping a weight on somebody else's head, of somebody owing something, of a blood family debt, that the way it burns back and forwards to where if Watson has got something he can't face and I go face his death for him, then he owes me back. And then the Frenchman takes his foils and goes off into the battle for me, and I owe him one heart. So then I come back to Watson and I say, you pay the Frenchman what you owe me. He said, how do I pay it? I said, don't ask me how, I'm not your father. Do what you're told. Pay your debt or get off my road. So he pays what he has to pay, and he does what he has to do. I didn't direct him to do anything. I told him to be a man, stand up for himself. I didn't tell him what he should do or how he should do whatever he had to do. I said he has to do what he has to do. Wilson knows that, Claymore knows that, the street knows that, the penitentiary knows that, and the brotherhood knows that.
What are you saying? You're saying you didn't say...
I never directed traffic on no street corner about anything, man. I haven't got time for that.
It's nothing to do with you?
I'm not going to get involved. I'm not that, what, insane? I'm crazy, but I'm not, I can, but I'm not going to take a chance on putting myself back to jail for what? For what? You deal me the hand, I got to play it. You give me the cards, I'm a mass murderer, I'm a hippie cult leader, I'm all these things the DA's laying out so he can bring the mafia from New York, so he can put Rambo in the movies. You see what I'm saying? In other words, he's got a lot more going than Helter Skelter. Helter Skelter is just one little foot he's playing. Now he comes back to me from Geneva, wants to be my sunshine, if I'll agree with him on his Helter Skelter theory. I didn't have any Helter Skelter in my mind. Let me explain something. The oven has SS written on it. I come out of the bakery in 1954. I'm Duke on the yard. There's nobody on the yard can beat me, doing nothing. They got one or two German kids that come from the Second World War that were raised in the Hitler Youth Movement that are very good, but they can't beat me. I rule the cigarette. I mean, that's, the dominoes, the checker games, you dig? So someone's got to be killed. Somebody told somebody some lies, and somebody's going to kill somebody. So I come out of the bakery pushing the broom, and they got this guy in the butcher shop, and they're stabbing him to death. I'm walking a line. I'm not a snitch. I don't run and tell the cops tales. I stand on my own 2 feet. So one of them looks over and says, Manson, get on the point. So I take the broom and I get on the point. And I'm watching and I'm thinking, that tramp better not move from me. If he moves to me, I'm going to take him home to his mama. You dig? So he doesn't move to me and I don't move to him. So they got this guy and they stabbed him to death. And you can't kill anyone in the kitchen in a penitentiary because it makes it bad for the food. It's bad for everyone. It creates a lot of paranoia. So they're cutting this guy in half. And they're trying to put him in the garbage can. They can't get him in the garbage can. So they cut him in half and bent him, and they got the elevator, and they're smashing the elevator down, trying to put him in the can. He's got half in one can and half in the other can, and they're trying to smuggle him out of the kitchen. And they smuggle him out of the kitchen, and I'm pushing the floor. The guy come up and says, what happened? I said, what happened where? He said, what did you see? I said, see what? Where? What are you talking about? I don't see nothing, man. All my life, I've been on that line.
And you saw nothing?
I don't ever see anything.
You know nothing about
I know nothing. I know nothing. I'm zero. I don't get involved. I don't run and tell them cops protect me. I protect myself. And whatever happens, happens, man. People getting killed around me is no new thing. You come to prison, man, there's people getting killed in prison all the time. You go to San Quentin, these men, every time they walk the yard, they got to wear, you got your, no, yeah, look, he got to wear shields, man. In other words, you got all kinds of violence and fear that runs in these places. When you live a life like that, it becomes a natural thing, You
didn't have a beef with those people?
No, not at all. I'll tell you what it was. Terry Milsher come up to the ranch and made some promises to a lot of people he didn't keep. It had nothing to do with me. He gave me $50. I gave it to the old blind German. The old blind German's got $53. The same thing the Emperor of Japan when he came back from the crypt. He had 53 samurais there with him. In other words, like When you come back from the graveyard, they're picking that back up. This justice system that they got here is not doing anything.
Okay.
You know.
But trying to say that you said that you wanted to explain it. Let's try and talk first, see where it gets.
Okay.
You said
Tex is a rumpkin. He came to town. He's his mama's boy. The prostitute took his money. He said, can I live with you? I said, can you live with me? He said, yeah. I said, well, let me have that pickup truck. So he gave me an old pickup truck from Texas, you dig? So I got this old pickup truck, and I'm letting him stay around the ranch. He's hanging around the ranch. A lot of guys like to hang around me because I'm underground. I'm what you call cool, man. I'm what everybody tries to be. When I'm down on the street, I ride a motorcycle. I got a lot of girls. I sing a lot of music. I play. I'm him. That's my road. For a while until they grab me up and put me back in the cage again. But anyway, he said, this woman took my money. And he sees women lighting my cigarettes. And he's saying, yes, ma'am, open the door for you. In other words, he's a matriarch. I'm a patriarch. He sees the way I'm doing it. He wants to do what I'm doing, so he said he's going to go get his money back. So he went to go get his money back. And he went and he burnt the broad for $5,000. He beat her for $5,000. Some black guy called me and said, I'm Gangster Dan over here, man. You cook my money. I said, look, gangster man, all you white brothers sort of together. I'm coming up there. I'm gonna burn everybody up and take that ranch. I said, no, you're not around me. You're not. You talk that shit to them little girls. When you come to me, boy, you're gonna have to, because I'll take your hat home to you. You dig? So we go through some changes, and I told Tex, go down there and face that man. Don't drag your shit to my door, man. He said, I can't. He'll kill me. He'll kill me. I said, well, if you're crazy, if you're scared, run home to mother. You dig? So he couldn't do it. So I had to go down there, and I ended up shooting the guy. And I had to go through some other changes with some other people and cutting some other people up.
Bernard Crowe, right?
Yeah, that's the world I live in. I ride in a motorcycle group that's a bunch of crazy people. We're fighting and cutting each other all the time. That's no big thing, I'm going to jiggle and get up on that line and push that broom and get on down. I didn't see anything, In other words, I'm not going to get involved.
So you went and stopped Bernard Crowe's attacks?
I went actually for myself, but it was for Tex too, because Tex ain't going to have no woman, you dig? This black guy keeps taking his woman away from him. So I had to go get his woman back for him, you dig? Because he won't accept that he's his own woman, you dig? We're all the Queen of England. If we're the King of France, whatever that means,
So what happened to Gary Hinman?
Huh?
What happened to Gary Hinman?
Gary sold some dope to some bad people. He sold some drugs that caused Beausoleil's wife to lose her baby. He was an informant for the government. He was playing all kinds of treacherous games that he shouldn't have been playing. See, when you're in the underworld, you got to be truthful. If you lie and you're faking and you're snitching and it catches up with you, it bites you. You do it to yourself.
Do you think he should have been killed for that?
I didn't think one way or another. It wasn't up to me to kill him. You dig what I'm saying? Here's the way that came down. Kid come to me and says, Hinman owes me. I said, okay, what do you want me to do? He said, you're my brother, right? I said, yeah, that's right. He said, what do I do? I said, well, if you're big enough, go get your money. If you're not, sit down and keep quiet. He said, what would you do? I said, it's money, man. It's not worth the trouble. You dig? Let's go party, what do we need money for? We make it. We print it up, It's got our faces on it, Why did he
die?
Wait a minute. I'll explain it to you. He said, all right, I'm big enough. I'm going to go get it. I said, okay, if that's what you want. So he called me a couple of days later. He said, man, this guy's got a gun. I said, don't invoke me to no violence, man. I just got out of the penitentiary. I don't want to go back. He said, you said you were my brother. And he said, what do I do? He's got a gun. I said, well, if he's got a gun, he's a coward. He must be afraid or he wouldn't have a gun, I said, you don't need a gun, man. I said, don't reach for the gun. If you reach for the gun, he'll shoot you because you're putting his mind on the gun. Smack him in the mouth first. Put his mind on his mouth, then grab the gun. Oh, you're crazy. I said, no, that's not crazy. It's just a matter of dealing with yourself because there's nobody there but you. Go take the gun or show me. So I said, don't, so I got involved. So here I go. Bruce McGregor Davis and I go over to Hinman's house. I got a knife on my leg, so I cut Hinman's ear. and I take the gun, he shoots off on the wall, and I throw the gun one way, and I throw the knife the other way. And I give the kid the knife, and I say, that's how you do it. Don't bring me into this no more. Don't bring me into no violence. Then I'm thinking, I got to scare this character. So I am what they call in the underworld, I'm a bad actor. I say, all right, now I got to kill you, Hinman. He said, oh, don't kill me. I said, if I don't kill you, you're going to tell my parole officer, and he's going to put me back in prison. He said, no, I won't tell. I said, you give me your word as your bond, and your bond as your life, you won't tell. He said, I give you my word as my bond, and I look back at the Frenchman, and the Frenchman's standing there with the knife, and the gun's laying over on the table in Norway. I think the king of Norway's got the gun. The North Sea's dying, right? So all them Walrus, we were Walruses, what, in the 60s? 60s, we are. So I looked at the Frenchman with the knife, and he's got Hinman, and I said, you got this? He gave me his word as his bond. Have you got this life here? And he said, yeah. I said, are we in the truth here? And he said, yes, we're in the truth. I said, okay, I'm through with this. I'm gone out of this. And I left. We patched his ear up. We put some Scotch tape on his ear. We fixed him up. He's back on the road. No problems. I'm out of there, man. I straightened it out. I've got to pay. I said, pay the kid what you owe him. He paid him the money. They transferred the cars and made their deals. You dig what I'm saying? All I was the administrator there. I administrated justice to those kids. You dig? Was what it amounted to. So then Hinman got, well, he got the knife. Oh, no, he got the gun. He got the gun. He said, I'm going to go kill that. And he said, well, and Bobby said, no, I can't let you do that. He said, you gave your word. And he said, well, no, that don't mean nothing to me. You know, he said, he cut my ear. I'm going to go blah, blah, blah. And Bobby said, no, I can't let you do that because he was standing up for me. Now I'm standing in his place. In other words, I was standing in his place. That's that line I'm trying to explain to you. You dig? When you walk that line and you're in truth with that cross and that chapel and that Bible and that book with that crown and that whatever it is that you guys are, you know, all the way back to where it started with Claymore and Wilson and all them dudes and all them graveyards and all them people that went through all them changes. All I'm doing is walking on the end of you guys. I'm way down here at the end of your foot. I'm walking. I'm running like a little rabbit, you know.
Okay, so Bobby goes away and killed him. No,
so Hinman killed Hinman. That's the way it comes down to. If you look at it from, if you,
shot himself?
No, wait a minute, no, it come like this. Hinman says he pushed by Bobby, and Bobby handed him the knife, a Mexican silver knife with a big eagle on it, from that medicine man that smokes that stuff that's got the mushrooms around his neck, that comes from the sweat lodge, that comes from the man, that comes from the universe, that comes from God with this knife and that heart, you dig? And he says, I'll not let you harm him because he was standing in my place and he's my brother. You know Bogus? You know Bogus down in Hollywood? He'll witness to that with his life because he owes me one on that. You see what I'm saying? In other words, I got more lives on this road than mine. In other words, there's only one life, true enough, but there's many perspectives towards that life. So when he pushed by, he gave the knife to Hinman and told Hinman, kill me. And Hinman says, I don't want you. Boom. Bobby said, you gave your word as your bond, and your bond is your life. If you make one more move towards it, I'm taking you away. And he made the move. Bobby took him, and he died. I'm 3 days down the road, man. I'm in San Diego partying at the zoo. I don't have any idea what the hell's going on there.
Well, now you owe Bobby.
No, how do I owe Bobby? I faced women. No, I faced his when I cut the ear.
Okay.
You know, I faced his.
Because a lot of people think that one of the reasons those people down in Taylor Drive was to try and get Bobby out to make it look like...
All right, now that's another game altogether. That's another game altogether, sure. That can be explained too. There's a place called Indian Mesa where we have fires and we play music. And we make big circles like you do with the Stones. We make big circles and we sing. Ah! And we put our souls in each other, you dig? In other words, and we have sex orgies. We fuck each other. you know, and we suck each other. We do all the things that you guys are not allowed to do in your culture. But in the culture I live in, we throw all that out the window, and that's what I guess you'd call Satan.
Okay.
You know, I wouldn't call it Satan. I just call it, just call it whatever. You call it time of day if you want. But that was what was happening in those times, in those days, you know. So,
so what happened on Sierra Drive?
huh?
What happened on Sierra Drive? How did you said you didn't have a beef with Sharon Tate and those people?
No.
Did you know them?
I had met a couple of them, 2 or 3 times. Photographer that used to do that. And there was some homosexuals there, and I know a lot of the homosexuals.
Did you meet Sharon Tate?
No, not knew her. I've seen her.
You met her? Did you say hello to her?
Yeah, we spoke. Hi, you know, but nothing.
Did you know the other people?
That's another thing. Let's see. Let's see. Now we're on this mountain. Wait a minute. Let's don't get too separated from it. In a circle in His Majesty's court, there everybody's got a knife, and everybody, the Duke of Booby's got a Ramalama Demibompa, and he's doing so and so. But in reform school, they have what they call a Duke. He's the guy that beats everybody up. Duke University, North Carolina. The Duke holds your land over in Scotland, if I'm not mistaken, right? So the Duke don't eat tuna fish. So he's sorry, Charlie, please. I'm sorry, Charlie, but he don't eat tuna fish, okay? I'm not unaware of around here. That's one reason we're doing this interview, is because you said in your letter, around here. So I am around here, Claymore, and I'm around here on this course, and I've run this course a few times. So up on this flat where all these dead Indians are, you know, we're sitting in a circle trying to figure out how we're going to do certain things, and here comes a guy from Texas who's his mama's boy that gets me in trouble going one way. You dig? Then Bobby gets busted. Then everybody comes around and says, Bobby's in jail. I said, I'm not going to let my brother in jail. In other words, I'm very strong in the brotherhood. And I don't let my brother down. In other words, like, I know I am my brother. If I don't help me, I'm not, there is no brother. So they say, what do we do? I said, I don't know what you do. Get him out of jail. They say, how do we get him out of jail? I'm not educated. I don't go to school, man. I don't know how you do it. That's what you went to school for. You do it. You do it. Well, how do we do it? I said, how do I know what you do? I have no idea what you do. I know you owe me your life, tramp. You owe me your life. Pay me or get the hell away from me. It's that simple. I stand up for you. I march to hell with you. I go through all the things it takes to save your life, and then you come back to me and tell me, you dig what I'm saying? You got a brother over here. Get him out of jail. They said, and they said, well, we'll get a lawyer. And someone said, well, you get a lawyer. Lawyer's just going to take your money and lie. Somebody else said something else. Somebody else said something else. I got in a truck. I went to Big Sur. I was gone for 2 or 3 days. I came back. Now, here's one of my sins. And I'll confess to you clearly and openly to the world. I never realized how much mind I was holding with those people. I never realized how weak you people are outside. I've been raised up inside with these guys. These guys are powerhouses. These guys are strong men. I've been raised up amongst men all my life. And I go out there and I tell someone, come over here and sit down. They go, whoop, and sit down. They say, how do you do that? I don't know, what? In other words, like, they do it to me in prison. That's the way this guy tells me. He said, get over against that wall, put your hands in the wall. So I learned to do what he says, and I just go out doing what he says. So I'm reflecting reflections on that are reflected to me, and I can reflect no more to you than's been reflected to me, you dig? So I go through all these changes, and all these people come to me, and they say, can we be with you? And I look at them, and I say, no. And they say, why can't we be with you? I said, because I'm with me. Can you be with yourself? And they say, yeah. I said, what do you need me for?
Okay, the company said that Bobby's in prison, we need to get him out.
Yeah.
So you're saying that the murders on Sierra Drive happened because they needed to...
Partly, part of it.
What was the motive in that?
Part of it? Yeah, there's a whole lot more. Here's an episode. You remember when you was in school and you had a bully in school and somebody went by, the bully went by and said, are you looking for trouble? And you say, no, I wasn't looking for no trouble. That's calling you up. Is that right or wrong? It calls your mind up to start looking for trouble. You're not thinking about looking for trouble until someone comes and says, they yell off in your head, are you looking for trouble? And you say, and he says, yeah, he's looking for trouble. Then pretty soon you start looking for trouble. You don't know why you was looking for trouble. A part of it. In other words, here you got a psychotic episode with 150 people. You got 150 people running through Hollywood playing music, smoking dope, having sex orgies, riding motorcycles. All I was one little small music group called the Family Jams, man.
All right, so it's not your beat. You
don't
have a beat for these people?
Wait a minute. And not only that, all these girls that you keep attributing me to were just girls that happened to be in the subculture that was in that free love trip. And the only reason they're still with me is because I've never lied to them. Okay. I don't lie, man. I quit lying a long time ago.
Don't lie to us now. I'm sure you won't.
I ain't got no reason to.
Okay.
The time's done.
You said that was Father Dustley in prison wasn't the only reason.
No, that's part of the reason I said. Okay. That's part of the reason. Part of the reason.
There's some other reason.
Yeah.
Did sex have some?
There's a lot of other reasons. There's a lot of other reasons.
Can you start with that?
Yeah. God damn, I don't know whether you'll understand it or not. A young kid's walking down the street. A cop comes up to him and says, shines a flashlight in his face and says, hey boy, up against the wall over there. And scares the kid. The kid gets up against the wall. He says, what are you doing out here? It's after 10 o'clock at night. You out here burglarizing stores? No, sir. I'm not burglarizing stores. The cop is a rookie cop, and he doesn't realize what he's doing is he's programming this young mind to burglarize stores. Being a juvenile delinquent, I went through that, and I burglarized stores and ended up in reform school. That way I figured out why that happens that way. You dig? The cop is practicing his procedure. You dig? So they come to the ranch and they raid the ranch. And they say, are you causing trouble, Manson? And I say, you can't call me up for that. No, I'm not causing trouble, and you're not programming my mind in no trouble either. Fear don't work on me anymore. You can pile 10 dead bodies up there and bleed all day. It don't bother me a little bit. You dig? In other words, I'm not affected by no fear games. You don't set my brain with fear. You dig? So I don't realize that they're setting everybody else's mind around me. I don't realize I'm holding His majesty. I don't realize what majesty is. I don't even, I'm a dumb kid that just got out of prison. I just done 22 years in prison from 1944 to 1967. I got no idea what's going on outside. I'm at that ranch just like I was in the joint. I'm still walking the same line that I was walking in the prison. I'm walking outside. I don't even do nothing unless I get someone on the point. In other words, like, I'm not breaking no law now. You're going to interview Sandy, right? You ask Sandy, I used to do this, and they say, what's that? I say, one positive thought. She'd say, what's that? I said, I never break the law again. The old man Carpus, remember you was talking about Creepy Carpus? Creepy told me, he said, son, you want to stay out of jail? I said, yes, sir. I've been trying all my life to stay out of jail. He said, it's a simple thing. You want to stay out of jail, don't break the law. If you don't break the law, you don't have to go to jail. It's that simple. And I said, well, I'll try it. And I tried it. And there's a whole lot of people that know me that are still in the truth with me will witness and tell you, I did not break the law.
Okay, so that means you had nothing to do with it.
I had everything to do with it. I was on the edge of everything that happened. And I affected everything that happened. But unknowingly, I didn't realize the effect I was having on people. Okay. I never in a second flashed about being walrus. When he says that was walrus is Paul, I never realized watch this. I was in a cell 5 years with an Eskimo. You know what his name was? Murphy. I swear to God, man. In other words, like, I've been in the minds of millions of many people, man. But I have never been in my own. Because I'm not in my own mind until I get outside. I'm living in the mind of the guards. I'm living in the mind of the people next to me. The people down the hallway. I got to balance everything around me to stay alive. In other words, in prison, you got to get along with everybody to stay alive. If you don't, you get crossed in there, and somebody's going to push you over the edge. You dig?
All right, but what you said, there was more to what happened on Sierra Drive. Now, what was the more to it?
The more to it was the ranch. The whole ranch, the ranch hands, we were all hands to a blind head. George was the head. He was a blind head.
Okay.
Yeah, he was there, and we were hands to the head.
But why did Tex and the girls go there? Why did they go to that house that night and kill those?
All right, because first of all, Doris Day. Oh, this is going to get heavy. Remember the Korean War? The United States lost the Korean War, but they didn't tell the public. When they lost the Korean War, they had to give up their sex to the Koreans, and Doris Day was the prize. So Doris Day was the end of the Korean War with Reverend Sun and Moon coming over here. So when I go to get into the music, the Jew rejects me on the universal level from Cary Grant's parking space because I won't use the black people. And I won't crossbreed with Wendy Mandela and get in the middle of a sex orgy that they're running for their dollar bill to build kibbutzes in Israel so they can have machine guns and the Arabs have got rocks. So when I passed on that, I fell into the Beach Boys. The Beach Boys are being run by the Italian mafiosos that are trying to break through the mafia coming to the East Coast, that the Mexicans kicked them out of Rosarita and told them, stay out of California because we don't like you. So the mafioso, when I went into Dennis Wilson's Beach Boys, I said, you owe me money for music. Where's the money? They put me onto the Italian business manager. I said, don't I get something for this music here? And he said, no, you get nothing. He said, sue me. I said, I won't sue you. I'll bomb your car, man. I'll blow your house up. He said, I'll call New York and I'll call the mafia. Well, I know a lot of the dudes in the mafia, so I backed off of him. That's why I moved in with Dennis. You owe me. If you won't pay me on one level, boop, I'll sneak you on another level. In other words, you're going to pay me sooner or later because I'm that guy that always gets paid, and I always pay. You know, in other words, like I walk a line, man, and in this heart.
Yeah.
And
how does that get us to sing?
Huh?
How does that get us to sing right? And how does that get us to We're going?
Everyone ready on those cameras? Okay, here. On your end time.
Okay. You're telling us about the other reasons why. We're going?
Everyone ready on those cameras? Okay, here. On your end time.
Okay. You're telling us about the other reasons why.
one thought can change a million perspectives. You know, you can have one word change. Tex had familiarity of surroundings. Somebody else wanted to stop the war. Somebody else was mad about the music. Somebody else was being called up into a negative thought by a bunch of harassment from other people.
What do you mean by that? What happened?
Well, the ranch was being raided every other day by the LA sheriffs. Every time that they would become afraid of the black people, they'd run over and raid the white people to make themselves feel a little stronger, a little more powerful. You know, in other words, like when you're white and you're underneath the establishment, you got to deal with all the white people in the establishment that are afraid of the black people. And in other words, you got to deal with all the way back to the Confederacy, back with Abraham Lincoln again. You know, you got to go all the way back through that. You know, in other words, like in the culture that I live in, it's not just one opinion that counts for something. You've got a whole motorcycle gang of maniacs who've got, everybody's got some brand of insanity of their own.
Okay, so Tex has gone there because it's familiar.
That in part, and partly.
Why? How come it was familiar? Huh? How come it was familiar to him? He'd been there?
Oh yeah, he went there with Dean Morehouse, and there's an Indian princess that was in the reservation that had a motorcycle group, It's motorcycle groups are lapped over with other motorcycle groups. One chrome helmet holds a motorcycle group that is chartered for the road. That if they're not chartered and you don't have the right colors, then the motorcycle group that's chartered for 250 that don't have the helmet but they got the daggers will run the other ones off the road. In other words, you've got different motorcycle gangs doing different things on different perspectives.
Okay, so Tex has gone there because it's familiar. He's been there before. Did you ever go there?
Yeah.
What took you there?
The homosexual that lived in the back.
Who was that? Garrettson?
A guy that used to deal grass and some other things, pornography. Polanski was in, see, here's the thing, man, I don't want to start pulling people's covers, but all them people that you thought was so wonderful and nice, wonderful, you know, they wasn't wonderful as you thought their dogs might have been on the chauffeur's night off. You dig? In other words, there's all kinds of things happening in the darkness of what was going on that, you know, like how does someone from Poland get to Hollywood and go all the way over the top and, you know, have everything it is like a Valley of the Dolls. Where does one camera click in and what film are we sending to Hong Kong for the other? In other words, like, that's what I was fixing to tell you about Doris Day, the reason that came down. When the Oriental, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Oriental came to me, and I don't know whether you've ever experienced any music on the level that I play music on. But I play music on a level that you've never seen before. I don't play music on the level of little girl music. I play music on the level of just as flat ass as you can sing Christ dying on the cross level.
Okay.
In other words, it's scary. It's really, really far out. It's a lot of people try to copy what they can do with it, you dig? But it's like, it's got to come from the soul, you know. So when it came in and the music lifted up, there are certain levels of the mind. Have you ever experienced levels of the mind where other people couldn't exist? They go crazy. The mind, the pattern of their mind. Like your mind is patterned by tom, and someone comes, set, plot, I'm not, you see what that's doing to your mind? Now take it up. You see what I'm saying? In other words, when you get there, then this guy starts going crazy. Then he gets on his knees and says, "Oh Lord, oh God." And I said, "Man, he must be talking to the bass man because, you know, the drummer just left. You scared the drummer off, you dig? Two other people fell down. Somebody went through a fit. Somebody wanted to pray. You see what I'm saying? In other words, when you open up the soul, when you open up the whole of that soul, you dig?
Okay, this is great. But how we still got a pile of bodies in this house? So how did they get dead? I mean, they haven't just died.
Okay. The guy comes up to me and he says, "You're God. You must be him." I said, "Get away from me with that."
Who said that?
He said,
"Who said that?"
The Oriental.
Who's that? Who's that? Who's the Oriental? Do you remember his name?
"This is my music, you little bitch.
Yeah.
I'll take your heart out of your chest, tramp. Bow down when I come over to you."
Okay.
You dig? He said, "What are you doing out here playing?" Melcher sent this clown over to me. To Melcher, this is the man. Reverend Sun and Moon is the man to Terry Melcher. He's not the man to me. Put him in the main line of San Quentin, he's not the man guy. Put him over on death row for 2 or 3 times around, and he's not the same guy who was in some clown outfit playing some fucking game with some circus. You dig what I'm saying? In other words, caminando real, there's a lot of men on this road. You dig? That don't ever touch the music that you don't even know exists.
So it's got something to do with Terry Melcher.
Yeah, no, he came, he wanted to fight. I told him I don't want to fight. I said, "Bruce, you want to fight this guy? You fight him. I'm not going to fight him." I ducked him and ran behind the barn. I didn't want to fight him. So Bruce was getting ready to fight him. Somebody else was fighting him. He was fighting everybody else. You dig what I'm saying? Then he come to fight me, and I got one of the things that and I put over his head, and I laid him down. And I said, you want me to cut your head off? I'll take your life now. You know, and I got him right up to the point of taking his life right now. And I said, "Look, man, I don't want to go to death row for you. I don't want to go to San Quentin for you." He said, "Stay out of the music or cut my head off." I said, "Go back to your wife and get under her bed and beg her for forgiveness.
Okay.
Because if I take your head, it won't be where anybody will know it." I said, "Now get and I ran him off. But when I ran him off, everybody else is still in the war. The war hasn't ended. The Korean War is still going on. MacArthur, MAC, is still standing on the 38th parallel. To you guys, the war's over. The war's not over where I live.
Sure, okay. But we've still got these dead people.
Huh?
We've still got these dead people in
Well,
this
the
house.
world's full of all kinds of people that are dead.
But everyone always points at Charlie Manson and says...
That's because the DA sold him into that.
Okay.
He sold him in a helter-skelter, so Sylvester Stallone.
So you didn't send them there?
I didn't send him anywhere.
Okay, you didn't send them there?
I'm not the director. I don't send people places.
It wasn't for helter-skelter? You weren't going to start a big revolution?
Come on,
No. Okay.
Hey, 25 years ain't there no intelligence amongst you at all. I mean, because that doesn't make any sense to anybody,
But what you're saying now isn't making a lot of sense to a lot of people.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Sure.
It's, you can't just explain it just 1, 2, 3. It's not that simple. There's a running episode for 2 or 3 years of fights and sex orgies. And when you open up a sex orgy, what happens? When you get 4 or 5 bulls in the same ring, you know what? How all these bulls start banging on each other. I can't get my stuff up. You made me lose my stuff. I want to fight you. And you got all kinds of fights. You got all kinds of, in the words in the outlaw, man. That's what outlaws do, man. Outlaws are always fighting and killing each other, man. That ain't no new thing to where I live, man.
So you're saying the people in the house were
the only thing that
outlaws
made
too?
that, wait a minute, the only thing that made that any different than anything else is that broad happened to be an actor.
Okay.
If she hadn't been an actor, no one would have even heard about it, man, and probably no one would have got busted.
So you're saying that the people in the house were
No,
outlaws
I'm saying if
too?
you go to the L.A. morgue and you watch how many bodies they bring in there at night, they bring 200 or 300 bodies every night. In other words, that's life, man. People are killed all the time. And they say, well, don't you feel any remorse? I said, different people doing a lot of different things, but directing someone to go do something like, that's,
But they didn't do it for you, and you say...
There you go for me, man.
No. Oh, no, I'm going to accept what you're telling me. I'm going to accept for a moment that they didn't do it for you, okay? So I'm asking myself, why did they do it?
They do it because they had to do it.
They do it because they had to do it. They had a beef with those people.
No. Life pushes it to do that. Life pushes it to do that, and it's going to be done. It's got nothing to do with personality. It's not me.
Of course it has. Of course it's got to do it. Of course it's got to do with personality.
What am I, God?
Because if you say that they didn't do it because they had a beef with those people, you're almost joining up with Vince Bugliosi, because you're saying it was done at random.
Let's look at it from his point of view. All he had was a bunch of murders and a bunch of people, and he wanted to win. And he took advantage of it completely. Let's face it, everybody in this world is out for number one, and everybody uses everybody else any way they can. And don't come up like he was doing it for the better of humanity, because he don't give a shit about humanity no more than anybody else does. When it comes down to it, everybody's digging their own hole for themselves to lay in, man.
Sure, but if it had anything to do with it being Terry Melcher's house once.
It was Terry Melcher's house because the people were at that ranch was mad at Terry Melcher because he didn't do what he said, number one. Number two, he sent somebody over there to fight. He caused some trouble. He almost got some other people killed. Some people put their life on the line because of Terry Melcher. Terry Melcher didn't even know about it. He wasn't even, no one ever told him about it. And this is the first time I've ever even brought it up. See, in other words, a lot of that poison that goes under the bridge, I just forget it and let it go on down the road because it doesn't matter. To dig it up only brings up more negative, more bad thought. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't prove anything. It doesn't. The time is done. The crimes are over. It's already gone through the things. It went through the changes. Now they're coming back up and digging it back up to go through it all over again. Take it to court.
Well,
give me my rights.
Okay.
Give me the rights you didn't give me.
Or
give me the throne of England.
Yeah. Some people say you should get a new trial.
Okay. If they don't give me a new trial, let's look at it from that point. Right. You don't give me a new trial, I ain't got no rights at all, man. I'm kept in handcuffs for 23 years. These people do anything they want. They take my mail anytime they want. They do anything they want to do to me. So where does that put you?
But
English speaking people, where does that put you? You got no rights, man. It all comes back to the king. You got the right to do what the king tells you. The rights go to the king, and the king has got all the rights. And you know where the king is? I've got it hid in the desert. He's a little girl. Yeah, King George. You read him. He's from Ohio. You dig? In other words, we're in this world together, guy. Don't put it all on me and leave me carrying it. You leave me locked up the rest of my life and say it's all your fault.
But if
be responsible for your part of it.
If you were ever going to have another trial like your friends and your supporters want you to do, then you'd have to go into court, or somebody would have to go into court and say, those people weren't killed for Charlie, those people weren't killed because Charlie sent us there, those people were killed because, and there'd got to be reasons.
Semantics, those people were killed for Charlie. You could say those people were killed for Charlie. For everything that Charlie stood for in his music was for survival in the planet Earth. I was trying to put the feathers back on the ground. There's some feathers over here they take off the ground. There's a place called Fountain of the World where a bunch of people got blown up. Some people from the Navy, and the Second World War came in 1948, and they put dynamite up underneath the house. When they opened up the Feather River, they said, the people with the money are taking the water and buying up the water in the desert and killing all the life on the planet and taking all the water and putting it in the cities. So you got all this water going to these big cities, and you're building these big cities, but you got no water over on the land. You got no wildlife on the land. All the birds are dying, the bees are dying, all the animals are dying. You're not going to have any life on the earth. All life on earth is going to die unless you do something. So he decided he was going to do something. He got in there and he blew himself up. What happened? They covered it up, lied about it. You dig what I'm saying? It went on to another generation. The next generation picked it up. It came to my generation. I stood there trying to figure out what the hell was going on. Why am I doing this? Why am I sandwiched into this? Why do I have to worry about water? I mean, I'm not a naturalist. I'm an outlaw, man. I'm a street dog. I'm nothing. But here I am with the world's problems. I got to figure out this and how that's going and where these things are happening. And then I come and I sing it to my people. That's a red call. Let's hold it to the holy. That's a roll of hand around Tabala. And then we're singing and we're going through the changes and they start jumping off and doing things. They're jumping up, and she says, there's a armada coming in. You dig? So they jump in the boats, and they go out, and a big fire comes. They said, did you do that for the queen? You did it for yourself. You say you did it for the queen, but you did it for yourself because you knew if you did it good, you're going to get your reward for doing it. Because everything we do breaks down to the last days and the end of time. You've only got one thing. That's you. Okay. And whatever you do is for yourself. So then they come to me and they say, well, we're in one with you. We want to be with you. We want to accept you as being one. You dig? I say, okay, I love you too. You know, we're all good friends. You know, I didn't push them people to do nothing. Them people did what they wanted to do. I didn't make nobody lay down for anything. If they didn't want to lay down, they didn't lay down.
Okay, so you didn't send them. It wasn't done on your orders.
The only thing I did, I had a Confederate sword. I hung it in the kitchen. I said, don't lie. Okay. Anybody just ranch, don't lie. If you lie, the sword might jump off and come and get you. But I didn't, you know, I never had anything to do with directing traffic, man. Okay. You know, I don't know how many times, how many ways it can be said, but it can be said the same way as it can be said again and again and over and over and over. Give me my rights in a courtroom, man. Give me my rights in a courtroom. Now, you've had a little time to listen to me talk. Do I sound like I'm incompetent or inadequate? Well, then why did they take my rights in a courtroom? Because Bugliosi was scared to death because I knew what happened. I could have took it apart and explained it. There was nobody in that family that wasn't willing to tell the truth. All them people were willing to say, yeah. Leslie said, yeah, I killed her. And they said, why did you kill her? I said, I killed her to stop the war. Said, what did you think about when you killed her? I said, well, I said, at least you won't be sending your kids to war. Why don't we do it in the road? And then all these kids are out here doing it in the road, you dig? And then you're singing all that stuff and saying, well, it's all Charlie's fault. Hey, man, I didn't write the songs. That's not my generation. My generation is Bing Crosby, man. I'm not the generation of the Beatles. I was in Charlie Tuna in the penitentiary McNeil Island when they come out, 60s, all during the 60s. I was in Mexico City in the 50s. I wasn't even in the United States. I was in the jails down south of the border, man.
Okay. So let's look at a few little details. There was a story that you went to the house after the killings, did you?
No, you know what that is? No, here comes one of you, Fitzgerald. I got a lawyer because his name was Fitzgerald, and I thought, man, with a name like Fitzgerald, surely there must be some soul in this piece of humanity. So I suggested that he take a portion of this pie and get into this because there's going to be some money here because all these vultures were picking everybody's bones apart, see? So Fitzgerald jumped up on the district attorney's side because it was easy. That's why Billy Graham's daughter is having Italian babies right now. because they moved the whole Catholic Church over there in her, up in those procedures. You know, they
So what
go off the top of the Queen because she's doing that with the, what's that guy that got out of prison over there in India, Mugabe? Did you guys forget he was a convict? He got out of prison. You know, in other words, you guys get stuck in, Hitler got out of prison, right? Well, all those guys that got out of prison, it was in the same thought that I'm in when I got out of prison, you know?
So this guy Fitzgerald has got something to do with him.
Yeah, Fitzgerald, he read up on the law and says that the only way that they can keep from giving me a trial is they got to prove that I was in the house when someone was killed or after someone was killed.
So you didn't do it?
No, hell no.
Somebody did.
Somebody did what?
Somebody went back to the house.
Back to the house? What house?
To Cielo Drive after the killings.
Who?
We don't know. I'm asking you.
Who told you that?
Somebody heard them.
Okay.
There was somebody on the other side of the canyon heard people in that house at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's 4 hours after the killings, and they were having a big argument. Who do you think they were?
Probably the maid.
No, she didn't get in till
Wasn't
later on. Somebody went back there.
Maids do a lot of things. You
Well, I don't think.
The maids get around a lot. You know?
Yeah, but they don't move a lot of bodies around, Charlie. I mean, it's.
Hey.
Yeah, they didn't do that. They didn't do that.
You are an intelligent being. Rumors.
No, it wasn't a rumor. It wasn't a rumor. It was a kid.
Damn the reason. Let's look at the effect, huh?
Well, if we want to look at the effect, we've got to understand the reason.
Hey.
Somebody heard.
Listen, there's not a cockroach in that town I don't know.
Okay.
There's not a rabbit, there's not a fox, there's not a raccoon or a rat in the sewer pipe that I don't know. And I'll tell you, nobody was in that house from that ranch.
So somebody from outside the ranch?
That house was randomly, by mistake, it was just there, man. The whole thing jumped from the soul. It jumped from the soul. The guy took it off, decided that's what he wanted to do. There was no direction. It's like, we're a circle of people here. We're sitting in a circle, and it's hot, you know. And someone comes in with an orange sweater. And somebody says, man, I sure wish we had something cold to drink. And someone says, how about some orange juice? And someone says, all right, whose conspiracy is it to go get the orange juice? The guy with the orange sweater? The guy that said he was hot? The guy that's with the air conditioner? Or let's blame it on, who are we going to blame it on? Let's blame it on somebody we can get away with blaming it on. Let's blame it on some convict that ain't got no money. Let's blame it on somebody with no education. When Bugliosi seen me, I was custom fit for his ambition. When he got what he wanted, he moved New York City to Hollywood. He come up with Rambo and the dune buggy with the machine gun and the rat patrol, with the Russians and the black boxer coming off the helicopter pilot, him and Tom Selleck playing off that them Blackfeet Indians, playing all them other games coming down from another penitentiary. The whole thing is a playoff of crime. The whole thing is a playoff of the courtroom. The whole thing is a playoff of the children that get stuck in this game. This is what I want to end this up with. What I got to tell you people is important to the life that you live in.
I tell you, we want to hear all of that. I mean, I don't want to sit here all day talking about the murders. I want to clear that out the way so we can talk about other things. There's more to you than that. But I tell you, there's all these people all over the world, when they hear your name, they just think, Sharon Tate. That's all they know about you.
Okay.
And so let's clear that, let's get this out of the way.
Then empty the trash can and start
all
off.
Right, okay, let's
God is the beginning.
Okay, let's do that. So you say...
First it was beginning.
Absolutely,
It
okay.
all began.
All right, so Bugliosi...
Begin again.
No, Bugliosi comes along and dumps it on you. You say, it wasn't your fault, it just happened around you. You once said that you weren't even there, you were in San Diego that night. Is that true?
Yeah. I had a ticket.
What did you do?
In San Diego?
Yeah, how come you got a ticket? What was it for?
I got a ticket for driving in a milk truck. I think it was an old milk truck. No muffler or something, some old raggedy.
Did anyone else see it?
Yeah, Stephanie Schramm and the highway patrolman that gave me the ticket. But they moved him to the East Coast. Here's another thing you got to realize, man. When you're dealing with social consciousness in the United States of America, a district attorney's got the power of the Supreme Court, because the court system in the United States needs a lot of work if it's going to ever get back on its feet. It needs a lot of readjusting. The district attorney has got the arbitrary power to take the grand jury and indict anyone he wants and make any time level. He can control time.
Okay.
That's the reason he faked
All right.
on you and said, I stopped his watch. Actually, he stopped his watch, and he keeps blaming it on me because he's got time. I just got a note from him from Geneva, Switzerland. And if I compromise with him, we can go to Geneva and talk about the situation. You know, because he's beginning to see the immediacy of the soul. Let me say this to all of you guys, man. The soul moves things beyond our comprehension, man. We can't blame one human being for the Second World War. We're to keep blaming Hitler. Hitler was just one particular person that was picked up and thrown off into the world.
Okay. We can't do that. But if one person goes and shoots another person or stabs another person, we can say, hey, he did that.
Okay.
Okay, that's what the law is about. Okay, well, just for the moment, we'll accept that you weren't there at the Tate house, you didn't order it. Okay, well, we'll buy that, just for
Why
now.
do we keep laboring the same?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, let's move on one notch, and you know where we're going, the next night. Now, you were there that night. You can't say you weren't there.
I was there with.
At the LaBianca's house.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what happened there?
Harold True lived next door to the LaBianca house. It's an upper class crash pad. It's an expensive house that a bunch of inexpensive people got together and rented so they could front and play expensive. And we would party there often with a lot of well-known people. And next door was an empty house. The Bianca house was an empty house. And what we used to do is when you meet a lady in this big, expensive place where everybody's wearing their finer, scattered all that stuff, then we just slip over under their heads, down their bullet, over in the stomach, an old raggedy couch in the gumbo alone. They say, well, Joe, that's a little place that you party and you play on the little darkness side. Okay? Bianca had just moved in there. Had no idea those people were there. I walked right on in the place, man. Tex and I and some other people drove up to see Harold. We went up to the house. Harold was locked down. Nobody was there. We went over to the next pad. Boom! There was some people there. I said, whoop, I got to split. I'll see you guys later. So, do. I went do. I was gone.
So?
The line with the broom. The line with the broom. I'm a crook guy.
So you...
What you do with your claymore, it's up to you and your claymore.
Okay.
Just don't shake your thing at me. And I'm not shaking my thing at you. If you go over and you decide to do that, that's on you. It's got nothing to do with me. I walk.
So Tex goes in the house.
Tex did what Tex did.
Okay.
And if you want to find out what Tex did, then you ask Tex.
All right.
Now, if Tex was in this same room, I would hold you and Tex for Tex to tell the truth. And Tex would tell the truth.
Well,
and he would tell you.
A lot of people ask him,
Yeah.
and he won't say a thing.
He won't, yeah, well, then, you know from that. You know from that where it's at.
I'll tell you what you can tell me, though. Was Tex really close to you?
Was Tex really what?
Close to you?
No.
Did he really ride with the family? Was he?
Oh, what does that mean, ride with the family? You see what I'm saying?
Well,
you
was
guys
he...
have got all that stuff in your head from all those books and stuff.
Well, get it out, Charlie. Dig it out.
I rode
Come
a
on.
motorcycle with a guitar and a sleeping bag.
Yeah.
If you can keep up with me, okay. If you can't, then, don't get on my leg, man. Get down off my leg. I ain't got time for no rumpkins. You dig? In other words, I live fast, man. I move. I'm only going to be out of jail a few days, man. I may be out of jail 6 months. I may be out of jail 3. In other words, every time a guy gets out of jail, he's not moving on the same level that you guys live on, man. He's moving on he's moving. He's moving faster. He's doing other things. In other words, like it's not the same world. It's an underworld. It's a subculture. It's a world where you live by your word or you die by your word. If your word's no good, you can't deal. If you don't have a dealer or you don't have a connection, you're in trouble. And you gotta be truthful to have a connection. If you don't have a connection, forget it. because you're not going to make anything, and it's just I never said I wasn't an underworld. I never said I wasn't an outlaw. I never said I wasn't all the things that pirates are. What I said was I did not break the law, and that goes to the rights of the words that are spoken in English. Wherever English center is, wherever the center of English is, you tell them I said that.
So you didn't break the law, so you didn't, once again, you didn't tell them to go and do it?
I got better sense than that. I know the laws of conspiracy. I understand what malice aforethought is. Here's the thing that you people don't understand. 1944, I went into the underworld. I went into a judge that was the same judge that was in Nuremberg, who was hanging Waffen soldiers over there in the war. I stayed in the judge's robes under Dr. Hartman, under these men here. These men raised me. This guy's raised me. Since a little kid, man. I'm like his little boy. He raised me all my life. Everything I know, I got inside. I don't have any parents. I don't have mothers and fathers and family unit like you guys do, you dig? I live in prison. I was raised inside the judge's body. I'm in the judge's robe.
Okay, so you understand the law of conspiracy?
Certainly, I understand the law. And I would not break the law. It's stupid. Let me say what the law is. The law is the will of the king. The law is the will of God. God makes the law. You break the law, you're calling it down on yourself, man. It's a simple thing,
Okay, so you go in, you come out. Tex goes in, bad things happen, we got to go ask Tex.
I don't know whether you call him bad, whatever you call him, that's what you call him.
Broadly speaking, killing people is wrong.
I didn't call him bad. I didn't call him anything.
All right, so that's your judgment. But it had nothing to do with you.
I haven't made a judgment. I haven't got my robe yet.
But nothing to do with you?
Well, sure, everything has something to do with me. I'm responsible for everything, aren't you?
And you knew the straight Satans, right?
I knew everything.
You knew the straight Satans?
Certainly.
Okay.
Certainly I know.
And somebody said not so long ago That a relative of one of the people who was killed was the boyfriend of one of.
I run him off the road.
One of the relatives of the people who were killed had a boyfriend who was a straight Satan.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
You knew about that?
Yeah.
Did you know it? Did you know it then?
Let me say this.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm good.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I'm not saying that I won't do what I have to do.
All right.
And I haven't done what I've done. But whatever I've done, I know.
All right. So, okay, let's just deal with that tiny little thing. This guy who's a straight Satan, who's going out with this relative of one of the people who got killed. Did you know about that? Did you know it then?
Barbianca was an Italian. That's why they put Bugliosi in. I've been in the mafia since I was 17 years old with Frank Costello off the top of Lewisburg, Pennsylvania in 1952 when he was busted, when Luciano was deported from Batista from Cuba. And in other words, when I tell you that I have been in the underworld since I was 10 years old, there isn't nobody in the underworld that I don't know. There isn't anything I don't know from here to Sicily.
Okay.
From here to the Popes, the reason he lost his seat. We got 700 years of Italian popes, and we got a Polish KGB in there now. It was a different world now.
So you knew of everything that happened?
Everything that's happening in the penitentiary. You can't help but know. If you stay in the cell long enough, people come and go. After a while, it's not too much that the guys here don't know, man. In other words, you got a cop in there, that cop knows everything, and they got a star man, he knows everything that's going on. He knows what's in everybody's head, what's in your pockets, what's in the laundry, what's in the garbage truck, ain't nothing, they don't miss anything, man.
Okay. So these people have died on these 2 nights. Are you sorry about that?
There you go.
Just asking. Come on. It's a fair question. If somebody sends you in here for all these years, it's a question that's in everybody's mind. Is he sorry?
Is he sorry?
Mm.
I don't. Let's say this. Am I honest? I can say anything. I don't really I was sorry I was born, is what my mother told me. I've been at the bottom of this pile as long as I can remember. Everybody's had permission to bite any part of me they want to chew up. I don't really, honestly, know what a lot of those words mean that you guys use. I've often thought if I was young, I'd go back to Scotland and learn how to speak the language I could understand. What does sorry mean? I hurt. I've been beat with the leather strap. I'm sorry. I'm sorry because I'm hurt, or I'm sorry because, why did I get beat? I don't even understand why I got beat. I just got beat. Why am I getting beat? Why you got me in a cell? Why can't I wear clothes? Why can't I do like other human beings? Why do I have to be? Why am I into this? I'm asking all these whys to myself as you ask those whys to me.
Well,
don't you think I ask those whys to me also? Are you sorry? Are you sorry that Adolf Hitler died? Are you sorry that Genghis Khan got killed? I mean, I'm sorry Montezuma's still not here. I'm sorry for everything. I'm sorry the sky is so dirty and the fish can't breathe in the water. I'm sorry that all the seals get their brains knocked out. I'm sorry for all kinds of things. Am I sorry? You know, does the effect make the reason? Do we ponder the reason to make the effect? I mean, where's the decision in it? We all have to go back to our father's grave and stand and look into our father's grave and say, are you sorry that you sent me out in this world and I have no place to go? Are you sorry that you ran me out of Scotland? Are you sorry that I've been hundreds of years running off into the universal with no place to go, no land to set on? I mean, I don't know how to deal with this sorry thing, guy. They keep asking me about this remorse thing. I don't have a mind that way. My mind is what works. If something works, it functions. I have a mind in procedure. I understand procedure. I understand war. I understand rules, regulations. I don't understand sorry.
Okay, so you understand legal procedure.
I understand legals, yes.
Do you think you got a fair trial?
No, absolutely not. I didn't get no trial at all. I got a circus guy.
Sorry guys, can I just stop the tape now and we'll change the tape?
Went in there and murdered her mother and father. And there's only one thing that holds her to attention. There's one thing that holds majesty. What holds majesty, English? What's held you all these years? What's held the English above everyone? What's made Britain such a great place? A little teeny bunch of people. What has made those people? Because you're ruthless. You're terrible. You go to war, you kick everything, you whip everything. You beat everything you've ever fought. Are you sorry? You're sorry. I don't know how to do it. I really don't.
Okay.
I know this, I've been thrown in a position. I've been thrown in a position of world thought, thinking about things. And I've been in a cell for a lot of years, considering, trying to see the way out from underneath. I didn't ask for this position.
Well,
Someone holds you down and deals you out a game of cards. And you say, I don't want to play. And they said, you're going to play whether you want to play or not. You say, I don't want to play this game. They said, you're going to play. So I'm held down to play this game. I don't want this game. Do you realize, man, that if I go to court and I'm convicted for being a burglar, then I'm a burglar? It makes no difference whether I'm really a burglar or not. If the court says I'm a burglar, to all these people that run these places, I'm a burglar. They get their reality from a court. Do you know what I was convicted for in the court of the United States? I was convicted for being Jesus Christ. I was convicted for being the devil. I was convicted for being the leader. Leader of what? Devil of where? Christ of who? In other words, all of these things fall down on me that I said this and I said that, and then anything I say will be open to interpretation and someone will take it one way, and then I'm on the horns of 1,000 dilemmas going with everybody's understanding in different directions, and then nobody's really sure, so as long as they keep me locked up and in handcuffs, then they can represent me, and then it makes them feel like they've got somebody important, so that makes them feel important. So we'll take this letter and tear it up, or we'll not allow him to wear any clothes, or we'll, in other words, like, do you think this has been a lot of fun for me? You know, if I thought I could say I was sorry and make it easier for myself, don't you think it would make sense that I would do that?
So you're saying you didn't get a fair trial?
I'm sorry for, I can't deal with saying I'm sorry for something I had nothing to do with, unless I'm God and I had everything to do with everything, and then you're asking God to say he's sorry.
But did you get a fair trial?
No, I never got a trial at all.
What did you get?
I got Berlioz's interpretation of helter-skelter pushed over on me, whether I wanted it to be there or not. Every writ that I put in was taken away by the highway patrol. My witnesses were intimidated. My ranch was burned up. Everything was a play for the public. Do you know how much money? You're a press man. Let me ask you this. How much money does one headline make on UPI for the whole world to listen to? How much money in one day?
Don't know the answer. It's probably a lot of money.
Yeah.
I don't know the American.
So you can imagine what 2 years of press in Berlioz's in the office is making. We're talking about $50 million just on the trial alone, not counting all the books. He sold 20 million copies of Helter Skelter at $17.50. That's a piece of change. That's not counting all the movie contracts and all his people that moved to Hollywood and how much he can do on the telephone and a newer law association. And then he puts a Rumpkin Irishman over there to guard his perspective towards his own ambition, his own how much he's made for his trip. You know, ask Berlioz if he feels sorry, and he'll tell you quick. Oh, I feel sorry all the way to the bank. Ask the lawyers if they feel sorry for selling the transcripts to Japanese movie companies and how much money was made there. All over the world they made money. Everything could be made money as long as Charlie was a hippie cult leader of a family called Rubitsup and a Gamalamadups and all that. You know, you know how it got like it, you know, I don't know how to say it, man. It don't fit in my mouth.
So there's no truth in Berlioz's book?
He's got names and numbers right, but he's got no motives right. There's different motives for the different crimes. Now you're going to make one motive. Henry was killed for one reason. Shorty Shea was killed for another reason. Somebody else was killed for another reason, you know. Everybody, you know, there was, I knew of 8 or 10 more murders that he didn't even bring into court. And they said that I was responsible for all those murders too. You know, come on, man. I know some people that sold some bad dope in Santa Barbara and it was bumped off, you know. In other words, like I know people that are killed every day, you know. In other words, when you're in the underworld, you know what's going in and out of the jails all the time, man. You know, that's part of life in the underworld. That's part of what we're doing in the United States of crime, you know.
But none of those people were killed to bring on Helter Skelter?
No, that's big business, man. Big business. Helter Skelter is going to be on whether it is or it ain't. It doesn't, you know. Interpretation, man. Helter Skelter is what? Race war? How long has there been a race war? How long have we been in race war? English? How long have we been at war with races? Since we come out of the caves and you didn't like Irishmen?
Did you think there was going to be a big race war, though? There was going to be.
There's been a race war. All my life I've been in the middle of a race war.
So it would have been a waste of time having people killed to start one, wouldn't it?
People killed. What people killed? The Jews killed in Nuremberg, or the Germans killed for you know. I mean, where we're going to put a hat on this monkey, man?
So let's just get it straight in black and white. These people weren't killed to bring on helter-skelter on your command. Is that right? You didn't send them there to kill these people, or any people, to start a race war.
I've been through it quite a bit. There's a whole lot that could be explained if I could get to a position where I could explain it, where I could get to a tape recorder, or I could write a book, or get someone to help me write a book, or get it in perspective to where I could offer it to you to where it could be understandable. You lay something on me that comes from the way you think, and then you expect me to give you an answer towards that, which it doesn't mesh within my reality as to be the same as what you think is real. And then what you offer into the public's mind to analyze and justify, or whatever you push it around to create it with, is going to be something altogether in another perspective, which I imagine you'll do for the money more than the issue at hand. The issue at hand is really, the time is already done. The people that have done the time have already got old, and everything has moved on. Reality is created by the courtroom, whether I want it to be reality or not. District attorney is responsible for helter-skelter. The district attorney created helter-skelter. I didn't create helter-skelter. I wouldn't say the Beatles created helter-skelter. They made a song about a slicky slide. You know, in other words, like, interpretation falls down through the minds of the mass, and by the time it gets to the subculture, it could be, God will love it if that's that. In other words, like, where do you vortex this insanity, man? How does it come through Monty Python again, you know? In other words, like, I can't say, man, directly, positively, assuredly, solidly about anything outside a court of law. Give me a court of law, give me my rights in a court of law, give me a floor to stand on amongst minds that can understand what I'm saying, and to the point of reality that I could bring into existence, rather than ask me to subsidize or gassolize or rumble and make up something for your benefit to entertain someone, you know. This issue that I'm stuck in is deeper than entertainment. I am not an entertainer. I am not an actor. I'm a gangster. I'm an outlaw, a thug, and a criminal. I'm a pirate. I'm all those things that are bad. And I never pretended to be anything other than that. I said this, and I say it until eternity ends. I did not break the law. I'm an intelligent being. I know what law is. I know how the law works. And they used to tell me when I was a child, ignorance of the law is no excuse. So I say to this, to all you helter-skelterites who keep play-acting on the district attorney's reality, that's your helter-skelter. That reality you can thank the district attorney for. And when you spend your last days in that confusion, you dig, you can believe that he sold your last chance for survival on this planet, because it didn't have anything to do with the movement that I was in. The movement I was in was a rebirth movement that was coming off the top of 22 years of prison from Gibault Father Flanagan's boys' school in Omaha, Nebraska, in the heart of the wheat, in the grain and the cornfields of Iowa. It comes from Moorhead, Kentucky, in the mountains of Tennessee. It comes from my grandmother, who said that if these mountains die, there's going to be no life left in the flatlands. I'm a hillbilly, man. I'm not a city boy. And there's a big difference between a high man and a low people. You know, I think Scotland's got a high land and a low land, doesn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
Let's move on to other things. I mean, after you came into prison, some of your friends made contact with, say, Mel Lyman. Do you remember him?
Mel Lyman. I heard of him.
Do you remember anything about him?
There's a lot of trash in the can, from what I understand.
You wouldn't say you were a supporter of his?
Mel Lyman, what is he? He's a leader or something?
Well, they said he was leading another family, and he was...
He's welcome.
Not a job you'd give to anyone, then?
Huh?
Not a job you'd give to anyone.
No, I wouldn't recommend it. Wouldn't recommend it. And the word you use, friend, that's a very loose term. That's a very hard word to understand and much harder to earn. I haven't really seen too much of that.
There's some things that you've said and some things that your friends, or whatever you want to call them, have said, which are your ideas, which a lot of people don't understand. Like, what do you think of black people?
What do I think about it?
Yeah.
I don't think.
A lot of people say you're a racist. Is that true?
Yeah, I'm sure I'm a racist. Aren't we all? Aren't you?
Tell me.
Who are you for? You for yourself? You break it on, peel it down. Who you got? There's only one you. That's all you got. You got to be for that. You're not for you. Who else is? Is anyone else for you? Is anyone going to feed you? Who's got to feed you? Who's got to look out for you? So you must be a racist. You're for yourself. You know, come on, man. Racist. You know what racist is? It's a game that people play in the streets. Hey, your defensive game. You don't like me? You think I'm ugly? You hate me? You got any money? Let me get a couple bucks from you. I get upset, and I might just decide to just bust you up. You wouldn't mind helping a man for a pint of wine, would you? And would you see me in the street? I'd play up over you if I catch any fear in you. You dig? Then I'd say, "What you get in your pocket and give me a couple quid, man? Come on, man, like help me out. You don't want to help me?" And a little fear, and then a little kindness, little fear, little kindness. You a racist? You a racist?
I don't think so.
Yeah, whatever. What is a racist, guy? You don't even know what it is. It's not in the dictionary. It's not even an English word, man. It's a game that you play on a street corner.
Well, let's talk about, say, universal order. They use your name.
Yeah, I started that. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't like black people.
Do you?
Yeah, I have no problem with black people.
Oh.
They don't like Jews.
Yeah.
Have you got a problem with Jews?
Yeah, see, man, well, we get into that, man. You know, like we bite off into that, man. We'd be chewing here all night. You take the simple thing, I'll run to you this way, man. I know. K-N-O-W-I-N-G, I know. You can't fake on me. Don't play that weak ass like you love somebody's shit to me, mister. When you're hungry and there's one loaf of bread, I'm going to get it, and I'm going to eat it. And if you starve, I'm a racist, or anything else you want to call me, but I'm going to survive. That's the way it's always been, and that's the way it'll always be. The strong survive, guy. Fall up underneath that bullshit game of knuckling down to somebody else's fear, wearing white hats, and playing games with other people's games. That's not going to work. That only works for someone else's game. Here's what it boils down to. Britain made one mistake. They backed up. They should have took the world when they had it. When you're backed up, now you got no chance to take it. You go over and educate those Africans and give them guns. And then what did you have to do with the Mau Mau? You had to go over there and fight them. In other words, why are you teaching those people to be just like you? And I say, I hate you first. You're the first line in my hate. I hate all white people. White people are rotten. And black people are just like them. Because you've made them just exactly like you. They walk like you, they talk like you, everything they do is like you. They want to be you so much. They love your woman more than you do. They know your mind better than you. They wear your clothes. They've even learned to wear your shoes. You take them out of the jungle and you want to make them into a man. Why couldn't it be left to be God? Why you want to make them to a man? In the jungle, they were God.
But some guy came along in prison and tried to kill you because he didn't think you were racist enough. Isn't that true?
Kill me racist enough? What does that mean? Because I wouldn't accept some Hindu as God? My Father in heaven is my Father in heaven, man. Just like every man's Father in heaven is his Father in heaven, man.
Someone put rat poison in your orange juice, is that right?
I went through just about everything you can think of. I'm still here, so I must be somewhere. I must be right doing something. You know, it comes to this, man. It comes to this. You don't want to face being what you are.
You say you believe in God.
Sure.
Any particular God or just the God?
Yeah, I believe in all I can believe in. Hey, listen to this. I don't want to get stuck on this camera, English, with something that's going to tag me off to be something like a racist, whatever racist is. I think I would suggest that all you people involved in this interview sit down and consider what the hell that word means. You don't have any idea what it means. You come down here in the penitentiary and you live with a bunch of people. You smell them. You rub off on each other. You know them. You know what they'll do to you if they get the chance. It hasn't got anything to do on how you feel towards them. The first premise of your survival is how they feel about you. Now, as long as you got money in your pocket, they're going to come up and tell you, "Hey, Murphy, how you doing? Hey, brother, man, we sure love you. You're so wonderful. Let me get a few dollars from you." And the minute I can't get no dollars from you, "Oh, you piece of data, you racist, no good, rah, rah, rah." In other words, I reach in your mind and control your fear because you're a coward. And as long as I can reach in your mind and control your fear because you're a coward, I'm going to play any game I can play on you all the way to the White House. And then when I take over, I'm going to laugh and say, "You were a bunch of weak people. I don't see how you made it this far." Because when you're dealing with the African mind, English, Africans are smart, aren't they? See, over here, everybody thinks them old black people are just dumb old colored folks. But they're not dumb old colored folks. They're very smart. They're very aware. And their capacity for fear is 3 times what yours is. You go to any colored man on a chair and ask him what's the license number on a garbage truck. He knows everything. He knows everything that's going on. Why can't he be responsible for helter skelter? Why don't we call him over and ask him if he's standing on the moon with Charlie, or if he's sorry about a lot of people getting killed? Because in the world we live in, people are killed all day long. And I was raised up in the black world, standing on the moon for a nickel on a phone call in the hills of Kentucky. I wasn't raised up on a white supremacist level to where my father drives a nice automobile. I was raised up in the gutter, man, where survival comes when you find out that you ain't got no friends, tramp. So you got the king on the road, you got the tramp and the garbage, and you got the bum with his hand out, you know. In other words, like, it's not like you think it is.
So you start universal order. I guess that makes you a revolutionary.
Sure, all the way. I'm totally revolutionary. Certainly. I've been a revolutionary all my life. Sure.
So what would you change? Huh? What would you change?
That's what I want to get my little segment in. Whenever you give me a chance.
Okay, we'll come to that.
I'd change everything.
Okay.
One world, one government, one mind.
We'll come to that.
One God.
Okay.
One everything.
Why do you think everyone blames all these other murders on you and all these other craziness?
It doesn't matter.
Some people say that you were involved in Son of Sam and all sorts of stuff.
Certainly. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Like the king. The king stands up and he wears a green feather in his hat.
Okay.
So everybody gets the green feathers. What makes a diamond worth something? The diamond is only worth something because the king wore it. What makes jewels worth anything? Only because the king picked it up.
But some people say you're sitting here in the corner of sort of empire of crime and you're dictating all these crimes all over the world.
I take advantage of anything I can. I totally take advantage of any situation that I'm thrown into for myself, completely and honestly and legally. I'm trying to change the system within.
One guy even called another guy Manson number 2.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of progression.
Do you know about that?
Oh, sure. We're all following somebody else. I'm following the guy in front of me. You know, you come up with a good idea, I'll follow it. You know, like if it's something good and it works for me, I'm going to use it. You know.
And Manson number 2 was supposed to be a guy called Bill Mensa. Did you ever know him?
I've known a whole lot of those kind of different people. There's a whole bunch of them.
You remember him, though?
Yeah, vaguely. Yeah, maybe something like that. And but you got to realize, man, there's an awful lot of people involved in this thing now. You know, and then we have to deal with Spanish too. There's a whole Spanish arm of this revolution. We're trying to save our water and our air, and from here to General Noriega. You remember General Noriega?
Sure. But when you say that you want to change the world for the better, you want to clean up the environment, but most people out there don't think of you as an environmentalist.
It doesn't matter what people think. They're jellyfish and they're paid.
But you can't change their minds if that's all they think of you.
Huh?
That you can't change their minds if that's all they think of you.
What does it matter?
Because if you can't change people's minds, you can't change the world.
Wait a minute. Hold back, you. Depends on what time zone you're in. You're still riding in the car. I'm over here on the stagecoach. I'm out the back door, huh? I didn't need to call you, so I don't last phone. I wasn't thinking about going back to the restaurant. I've been long back to Australia. You know, like you're supposed to bowl of wind over there. You might not even just gonna, you know, like I know all the trees blew over, you know, and you did me pretty wrong over there with that Groves Press when you let them other guys come and print them books about me, Dick. It's like it's not always you on a friendly basis. I don't know. I don't really need to go back there because Scotty built a castle out there in the middle of the desert. You knew that, didn't you? You know, so I got my castle over here, so I live with another asshole somewhere else. You know, I don't need to shit on the same direction all the time. I can do just about anything I need to do. But what I'm trying to do.
But why do you think that instead of being known for your environmental ideas, how come everybody just thinks of you as being this big criminal?
I was not looking to be known.
Well, nobody writes fan mail to John Wayne Gacy,
Yeah.
but they write it to you.
Yeah, I know. But please try to understand this. Brian told you I had him, didn't he? I had his studio. I had his legs open. I had his surfboard. I had it. I looked at it and I said, this is not survival. There's no life here. This is all dead. This is all dead. I'm telling you. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. I come a long ways. I come a long, long ways. From Kilgore. McLaughlin's. I come from the hills of Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia, North Carolina. And the hills are dying, man. The mountains are dying. The water is dying.
Yeah.
Guys, oh yeah, well, it's always been that way. You say, we're cutting 3 billion trees every day.
Yeah, we know all this, but can you change that from here?
Do you think public opinion is going to change it, or do you think if you just crucified maybe a couple 100,000, that would change it faster?
Is that what you think?
I think I wish Britain had it not backed up. That's what I think. I think that the only way you're going to do it is you got to do it through strength. You got to have a strong hand to do it. You can't do it wishy-washy. You can't wish it done. You can't want it done. You got to stand up on it and do it.
So what are you saying? There's too many people?
Yeah, way too many people.
So,
too many people, and you're so far out of line with your own stink. You don't even know what you smell like. You're putting so much stuff in the water, man. You don't even realize how many tons and tons and tons of waste and paper and garbage and junk. You know, is the North Sea in dying? Is the North Sea in trouble?
Sure.
Yeah.
So we've got too many people.
Well, how are you going to change the North Sea? By public opinion? By asking people, would you please help us change it? They're not going to send you $1.
But what do you suggest? You say we've got too many people. What are you going to do?
Well,
How are you going to get the numbers down?
Okay, if I got biology, I'll just spray the people and let the bugs live. I get the bugs out of my garden. I get the people out of my bugs. I change it. I turn it around. I take my spaceship and land it in another direction.
So you kill all the people.
Well, I don't know whether I would kill them. I'd give them a chance. I think they've had a pretty good. I was talking about that with some other people, and the other people, they didn't know there was anybody there. It was a fucking spaceship or something. I couldn't find anyone that cared. You know, I was standing there on fire, and no one would piss on me. So I said, where am I at? I'm holding these people up. I'm standing up. I'm carrying these people on my back. And, like, I got to be guilty for all the things. And how many years have I been to blame for who? And I say, Dominus Obiscum, were we in Mass on Sunday? Or are we the Protestant? Or where are we at over there? Are we Protestant or Catholics now?
Both.
Fighting each other back and forth with the devil again.
But are you going to change all this from here?
I'm not, personally, all I can do is think with my mind and do what I would do. I'd take the United Nations and the nuclear power and take 3 nuclear submarines and dismantle the rest of it. I start dismantling, and I turn your TVs off and your radios off, and I don't feel I really have to kill too many people because they're already dead. They got a black prison gang over here. They call themselves the Crips. You know why?
Why?
Because they woke up that everybody's dead. They're all walking around, but they're dead. They're actually dead.
Okay. Are you ever going to walk around outside? Do you think they're ever going to let you out of here?
I don't know. That's not important. It's not important. The only thing that's important is Atwa.
Well,
This thing has gone way beyond me. I'm not important.
well, before we talk about that, I want to talk about that. I just want to talk to you about that. Do you think you'll ever get out of here?
Out of what?
Out of these walls?
I don't know whether I want to. I'm trying to get in. I haven't been able to get in prison yet.
Mm-hmm. How about...
I've been trying to get on the main line. I haven't been able to get on the main line. See, I was raised in prison, so prison is like my home. See, everybody else is thinking about getting out. When they're young, you want to get out and you want to run around. Well, I got out and I ran around. I was outside. I couldn't see too much out there anyway. Inside's another world. I'd like to get CC camps going, see.
Mm-hmm.
They got an inner farm, an inner thought in prison that if we could get it going inside, in a positive way inside. I remember when prison used to be self-sufficient, where they didn't need the outside. See, there's a lot to consider. There's a lot to consider, and it would take too long to run it all, man.
So you don't really care if you get out or not?
Huh?
You don't really care if you get out or not?
See, there you go. See, that's the reality in your mind.
Okay, well, we'll just... How about
Say
sex?
if the door opens up and the guy takes the handcuffs off, I'll be gone.
Okay.
If that's called out, and you'll never see me again.
How about texting the girls? You think they're going to go?
Tex is Tex, man. I didn't know that guy that well anyway. I only met him a few times. He used to work on some trucks there at the ranch.